Quite enough silliness already, isn't it, staff? Welcome once again to another edutainment special, as our very good friend Juliet has very aptly and adequately described. Edutainment is what you get here on this channel. I shall entertain you as best as I possibly can, but at the same time I shall sneakily educate you by subterfuge before you realise that I've done it. You're welcome. While we're doing the super chat action right up front, there's some more there. Thanks for the facts. You're welcome. The fact check streams have been great for me to provide details to the skeptics. Absolutely. Field Marshal DC of the Meat Militia claims to be present. However, I did check with Field Marshal Lord Edward Yellow, who tells me not here. He's had a good look around. There's no sign of Field Marshal DC. AWOL he is, absent without leave, that is. Not good enough, Dave. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Field Marshals who are not on site undertaking active rotation are soft. So they are until they get back here, and then they're hard again. That's basically how it goes. All right. Hey, listen, caveats to this. We're going to do our usual thing. We're going to respond to a video that's been made by somebody else, in this case, Dr. Jason Fung, or Fung, who is not adverse to the carnivore lifestyle, is not an imbecile, is not completely wrong about everything. Okay? There is value in what Jason has to say in a lot of his videos, including in this one. However, here is the caveat. As an educator, or someone who takes the role of educator of the general public out there, the typical procedure of dumbing everything down is part of the problem. Describing things inaccurately, calling spades something other than a spade, not acceptable. Okay, put your hand up, please, by, I don't know, making a comment to the effect in the chat window. If you are, in fact, yourself stupid, if you are stupid and need everything dumbed down to the nth degree, please let us know you're stupid. And if you do that, the caveat to having done that is you will find yourself being described as being in the wrong place. Because my audience are not stupid, and neither is Jason's audience. Ergo, Jason, I think, needs to improve his messaging. And that is the topic of today's review, basically. So that's the caveat. I'm not here to bag Jason Fung, or Fung, I don't know which it is. I'm not here to do my usual, this guy's an imbecile and of no value and should shut up. I'm here to make the corrections to what he has to say in this video, while acknowledging the things he's got right in this video. So, and that's, interesting that Ben has come up with that comment there. Just watch Jason's video, i.e. the one that we're about to watch together. It's sort of okay. I agree. It is sort of okay. It's simplified for the greater unwashed. Yes, and that's the problem with it. Because it's simplified to the point where actually the descriptions of spades have been falsified. A spade is a spade, and it should be called a spade. Giving people a reason to get off the carbs, yes, which they should. But Seco is still being used as a false reference. Yes. Annoyingly wrong. Yes. And that is the topic. Well and truly outlined, I guess, in advance by Ben. Thank you, Ben, for that. That's helpful. Just before we get going, anything else we need to acknowledge in the chat before we get going? Yes, let's all learn how to consume some heat. Very good. So there's a preemption of some of the things I'll be saying today. You all know me quite well, don't you? Which is a bit sad because it means there's not enough new people coming into the channel. And having a look at the influx of new subscribers, that would be borne out. There aren't too many new subscribers coming into my channel of late. Mostly because I've been absent dealing with the issues around the flooding that we've had. But you guys can help. Send out the links. Let people know that I exist, I'm still alive, I'm still kicking, and I'm still calling out folks who are wrong on the interwebs. So that's what's happening in terms of all of that. Right, so let's get back to not ignoring your comments, but because they'll still be on the screen at the bottom right-hand corner there, as you can see, just underneath where Jason is. You can still read through those. You can also read them in the chat window as we go through, and I'll be back to acknowledging some more commentary after I've done my run-through of Jason Fung/Fung's video. So let's just do that, and it will be the normal pause quite often to correct things that need correcting. So again, if you are new here, and pausing of a video to correct things often, breaking the flow of what the speaker in the original video is saying, if that's triggering for you, if you don't like that, if that's annoying for you, if you can't cope with that, you are in the wrong place. Come back maybe on Saturday evening or Sunday, depending where in the world you are, for live Q&A, which is a different format. And again, the viewer numbers for live Q&A, boys and girls, staff, not great. Okay, so if you want them to continue, please help me to promote those in some way. Get the word out there, get some people along, bring your friends, something like that. I don't know. Yep, so that's the situation. Too many mostly good influencers still harp on about calories in, calories out. Yes, they do. Now, Jason Fung is not one of those. He does not believe that calories in, calories out is a good model or a valid description of anything, and he is correct in that. He says that in this video, and he explains, I think, quite well, one of the reasons why it doesn't work, but he misses the mark badly, in my opinion, in other aspects, those things that I will correct him on. Okay, so that's enough crapping on from me about preempting stuff about what I'm going to say, and now it's time for Jason to say things, and for me to respond to things Jason is saying. So, buckle up, get ready, make sure that popcorn chicken is ready for consumption, or whatever it is that you're consuming, because we all know that you can't sit through an hour video or whatever it is without eating, don't we? Oh, hang on. That's another crowd that can't do that. Even when they're actually on the video as a contestant, shall we say, in a debate situation. Isn't that right? Malnutrition by Victoria. Can't even get through an hour without stuffing your face with carbs, or twiddling with your hair, or pissing about in some other way. Giggling like a silly schoolgirl and that kind of stuff. Really isn't a good look. Anyway, we've dealt with that in the past. Let's deal with Jason today. This is today's video from Jason Fung/Fung. Off you go, Jason.
Today I'm going to show you in very simple but precise mathematical terms why a calorie deficit can't really exist.
Great. I'm on board so far. I agree. A calorie deficit cannot exist, but not for the reason that Jason is about to outline. I shall preempt this whole thing by telling you why a calorie deficit cannot exist. Here it is. Calories are a unit of heat energy, made manifest as excitations in the electromagnetic field, otherwise known as photons. These have the exact rest mass of none at all, ergo the addition of photons to your body, if that was possible, which I'm about to say it isn't, or the loss of photons from your body, which again would be an inept and ignorant terminology, even if that was possible, which it isn't, could not possibly make any difference to your weight, given that the exact weight of each one of them is 0. Now, when I went to school, any number of zeros added together adds up to 0, and the addition or subtraction of 0 to any sum leaves it unchanged. We're done with calories in, calories out. Finish. Now, why do I say you can't consume nor lose calories? Well, because they cannot be brought to rest in any inertial frame of reference. Precisely because they have no rest mass, i.e. no inertia, i.e. they do not interact with the Higgs field. We're done. Basic physics. I'm sorry about that, boys and girls. If you don't like physics, take it up with the physicists. As it stands, the physics remains pretty much unchallenged in regards to the things I've spoken about. That is the accepted line on what is the reality in which we find ourselves. It's a reality that Jason Fung/Fung could do very well to get his head around and adapt his messaging appropriately. That's really all I had to say. We're done. Thanks for joining me. Join me next time when someone else will be wrong on interwebs, and it might probably not be Jason. No, I'm kidding. Let's go through it. You thought I was going to start singing, didn't you? No singing. That's the rules here.
And what implications this has for weight loss and why you must focus instead on insulin.
Right. So what Jason is alluding to there is that there are things that have an impact on a person's body composition, irrespective of the intake of so-called units of heat energy. Things not covered under the so-called sum CICO, or calories in, calories out, or as we like to call it here, psycho. See what I did there? And he's right. But he still missed the point entirely. The point being what I've already said, pretty much, by way of what is a calorie, how is it manifest, and can it be brought to rest, i.e. consumed. At the end of the day, you might think this is just semantics. It really isn't. This is important. You have to understand this physics to understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. Here's an analogy. Here is an analogy. Speak clearly, son, for God's sake. Here is an analogy. What? Here is a quiz. Put your comments underneath as to the answer. What is that? What is that? Okay. I shall preempt your comments by giving you the answer. But please do continue to put the comments because it's good for the Gore's rhythms. Here it is. That is a piece of paper which denotes an amount of currency in the United States. Isn't it? It has a certain value, 20 of their dollars. That's what it is. Okay. Is that the same as a $20 New Zealand note, or a 20 euro note, or even if you adjust for the rates of the values of different dollars, euros, Pacific pesos, whatever else? Are those the same thing? There is a mathematical equivalency, sure, between 20 US dollars and about 30 or sometimes 40 Pacific pesos, New Zealand dollars. But are they the same thing? No. Why not? Well, because this here, see that? Still the same thing, isn't it? I can take that down the corner shop, which is quite a drive from here because I live rurally, but I can take it down to the corner shop and I can put that on the counter and say, my good man, I'd like you to sell me the equivalent of 20 US dollars worth of goods. What will that shopkeeper say to me? Off you pop. Come back when you have some New Zealand currency. While the currency is fungible, interchangeable, do I have the capacity to magically change that into New Zealand currency? No, not without going to a bank who have the technology to do it, or other exchange medium. You need the kit to make the funging occur. Yes, it's fungible, but is it funged just because I say so? No, not until the kit is applied to it to funge it. And I know I'm being silly in terms of the wording. Right? I hope this is clear. Anyway, we'll get back to that. Right. Jason, show us an ad though, or is this your splash screen? No, this is your splash screen. Good.
The energy balance equation is the basis of this so-called calorie deficit. And it's very simple. It says that body fat equals calories in minus calories out.
Right, well, it's just nonsense, isn't it? It's complete nonsense. Firstly, because you cannot take in calories. We've already covered that. Neither can you, to want of a better term, put calories out, per se. You can, in that your body has a body temperature, which is above room temperature usually, and as such, your body will exude so-called photons, so-called, to entropy. Absolutely. But those calories having no mass and being able to be brought forth from the electromagnetic field at any time, it's not really a loss of anything, is it? And it will not have any effect directly on your body composition, or weight, as Jason is very parsimoniously describing it. Because again, weight has got nothing to do with your body composition necessarily. It's just bad language, Jason. It's just poor communication. It's just, for want of a better term, lazy as fuck. Sort your life out, please, Jason. A spade is a spade. And that is 20 US dollars. It is not 20 New Zealand dollars or Pacific pesos or euros or any fucking thing else. It is what it is. That's how you should describe it. But first, you should get a full understanding of what that is. Okay? Right, carry on.
And calories are simply a unit of energy.
Right. They are one way of describing a construct, a concept, an idea. Energy. Okay? There are many different currencies in which you can describe energy. Kilojoules, calories, etc. There are a list of different ways you can describe the same thing. However, while you're talking about the same thing conceptually, currency, money, or a promise, if you like, what you're not doing by talking about calories is describing the same thing as kilojoules, even if you adjust mathematically for the interconversion rate between those two. They are not the same thing, because a calorie is a specific form of energy, as is a kilojoule. It's a different form. Energy comes in different forms. It's fungible. Okay? I hope this is going up some flagpoles.
So when you eat food, it has a certain number of calories.
No, it doesn't. No. The only time you can derive calories from food is if you can bust those. And while you could describe the process of metabolism as controlled combustion, sure. You could call it burning of the foods, sure. If you really want to. Again, that's parsimonious and lazy as fuck, but you could do that. Does your body use heat energy, specifically, to produce metabolic work? No. Metabolism is made manifest, is mechanically underpinned, if you like, or practically underpinned by potential energy in the form of chemical energy, in this case. A different form of energy, a different currency. 20 US dollars versus 20 Australian dollars, or the same equivalent amount of currency. Okay? No, foods do not contain calories. Because again, contain denotes bringing something to rest and keeping it within a certain frame of reference. The thing about calories being photons is this. Whatever you do to them, pretty much, they will fuck off at 300,000 kilometres or 186,000 miles per second in a vacuum. They have no rest mass. They cannot be brought to rest. They are brought into being from the ether. They are an excitation of the electromagnetic field. And by the way, ask a physicist to define what that is, the field. Good luck. And they exist as long as they exist, which depends on your frame of reference, and then they cease to exist when they are absorbed by something else at the other end of their chain of causality. Good day. All right, carry on, Jason.
Which is energy for the body, and it can burn it or it can store it. The body fat is a way that the body stores calories.
No, Jason. The body fat is the way that the body stores fat. See, a spade's a spade. And what is fat used for? Fat is used for the oxidation thereof to provide a chemical or potential energy to another substance where that potential chemical energy is, for want of a better term, stored until it's needed to do metabolic work. Calories don't have a damn thing to do with it. It's nothing to do with the exchange of heat energy, which is kinetic. It's to do with the exchange of potential energy, which is about relative positioning in space-time. Okay? What's next?
Very name is the energy balance equation, which means that these are three variables must always balance.
That's right. And that's what the Seco fans, even if everything I've said was incorrect, which it isn't, it's all correct, every single thing I've said so far, but even if I was completely making that up and it was just nonsense, Jason is correct here. Look, energy balance. 3 factors. Okay?
That is, there can never be a deficit. So think about...
So even if you could consume calories, which you can't, or burn them, which you can't, given what Jason's just got up on the screen here and is about to explain more fully, it still doesn't work. This is the worst nonsense, other than some other even worse nonsenses that we aren't allowed to talk about, that I've heard this week. Calories in, calories out. It's still nonsense. Sorry about that, boys and girls.
Put it this way. If you have a money deficit, it's the same thing.
I have one of those, based on 200-year floods in a 2-week period several months ago, a repair bill around this farm in the 6-figure range, and an insurance payout that's not. Anyone that wants to send me some extra money in the form of any form, it can be that form, or it can be New Zealand ones, or Australian ones, or European ones, or whatever you like. We'll accept them all, won't we, Ted? Yes. What have you been doing, by the way, Ted, while this has been going on? Have you been contributing anything useful? He's been twiddling the knobs. Anyway, will you go back down there and twiddle the knobs? Good boy. Good boy. We love the knob twiddling, don't we? That's what she said. Right. So. Right. Anyway, where are we? Calories. Calories in, calories out, and calories stored. Okay, money in, money out. Okay, well, it's not a very good analogy, but I'm using Jason's analogy so that you can make sense of why Jason's analogy is so piss poor.
You have money, say cash in your wallet, and you have things that you want to spend it on, like a burger. And you also have a place that you can store it, like under the mattress in your room. So you can't ever have a money deficit because...
Yes, you can. 200-year floods in a 2-week period, with a 6-figure repair bill underpinned by an insurance payout that's not 6 figures. There's a money deficit. Also, there's a money deficit in that I had to borrow a large sum of money, 7 figures, from the bank in order to buy this property in the first place. I'm in a money deficit situation. So, Jason, I'm sorry, but your analogy falls flat. You can have a money deficit. What you cannot have, though, is a calorie deficit. Okay? Different things. Not a great analogy. Piss poor.
It's a balanced equation. If you have $10 in your wallet and you want to buy a hamburger and the meal costs $15, well, you have a money deficit.
But what if I've got $20 US, like I've got right here? Can I go down the store or down to the local burger joint and say, here's my money? That's more than $15. It's quite a bit more than $15. In New Zealand terms, it's 30 or 40, depending on the exchange rate. Can I get my burger? No! Still.
That guy is not going to sell you his burger because you only have $10. What it means is that you must get the money that is stored underneath your mattress out so that you can pay the person. In calorie terms, what it means is that if you have the calories coming in...
Which is impossible still, Jason, because you still can't consume calories because they still cannot be brought to rest in any inertial frame of reference anywhere in the universe, still.
Is less than the calories going out.
Which is also impossible as a balancer to the calories in, because if you can't take them in, then they can't go out. They can be brought into existence by the process of oxidation, those that escape to entropy and are actually not encapsulated and used for kinetic, I mean potential energy in the form of actual chemical potential energy, the actual form of currency that is useful to metabolism, nothing to do with heat. Heat is insensible loss to entropy. This is fundamentally ridiculous, and you need to tidy this up, Jason. Just because people accept that calories are an okay description of what's going on and use it and say, well, it's just energy and it's all fungible, so it doesn't matter. No, Jason, it does fucking matter. This is the point. It matters very much. It's not just semantics.
Then you must take the calories from storage or body fat out, but this assumes that you can always get the calories that are stored. And this is the part that's not true. The calories...
Right, so insulin has an effect. Fantastic. You're right again, Jason, on that. Well done. It's not just as simple as calories in, calories out. However, this line of logic doesn't actually demolish calories in, calories out in the way that I have already done. Why not? Well, because insulin affects the calories thing. Either the in or the out, doesn't it? Because if you can't get access to them, you can't use them or burn them, to use your parsimonious terminology. Ergo, calories in, calories out is still correct as a descriptor of what has occurred extremely parsimoniously, ignoring the fact that we're talking about completely the wrong currency of energy and that it's irrelevant. Still. No? Okay.
that are stored, body fat, cannot always be released. So the key factor is how do you...
Ted's drunk all my coffee. Sake. Can't get the help.
release the body fat. Just like the money deficit. If you have $10 but you want to buy a $15 hamburger meal, well, that assumes that you can get the $5 from your mattress. What if you're really far from home? Well, you can't get that. So therefore, you can't buy it.
Or if the currency that is required is not in the right form, as this is not in the country where I live, this is not legal tender either in New Zealand nor in the independent sovereign nation of Pimbatia. This is a calorie, for an analogy. Okay? The metabolic system, the analogy for which being the country in which I live, be that New Zealand or the independent sovereign nation of Pimbatia, requires a different currency. This is not useful. I cannot use heat energy for metabolic process. Neither, sat here at my desk, living rurally about the back of bumfuck in Pimbatia, neither do I have the means to turn that into a New Zealand or Pimbatian dollar. It's useless to me. It's a piece of paper, in effect. Okay? Oh, but it's just currency. Okay, fine. But we're here to talk about utility. What is useful to you? What do you need to know if you want to control your body composition or your weight or both? You need to understand what currency you need to be using. And it's not the calorie. Okay? Wow.
Similarly, if you eat 1,500 calories...
You can't eat 1,500 calories. Because eating is the consumption of something, the bringing it to rest in a given inertial frame of reference. A thing. By way of thing, that means something with inertia, something that interacts with the Higgs field, what we perceive to be physical substance. Not photons, which you cannot eat. For goodness sake.
And you try to burn 2,000 calories.
You can't burn calories. You can, if you are parsimoniously describing the process of metabolic process as burning the food, sure, okay. It's the food that you're burning, not the calorie. The calorie is the result of burning, i.e. the result being that portion of the energy which, due to the inefficiency of the metabolic process, is not being encapsulated and transferred one for one. The calorie, if you like, in this analogy, is the commission that you get charged to change that into a New Zealand dollar by the Forex exchange people. Goodness sake.
But you can't take the energy out of storage. Guess what? You have a calorie deficit.
No, you don't. For all the reasons I've been talking about, as well as for the reason that Jason is about to say. So I'll shut up and let him say it. Go on.
Cannot exist. If you can't get at the body fat, then that must balance either by eating an extra 500 calories,
Which you still can't do.
or by burning 500 calories less.
Which you also still can't do. What Jason means is CICO will balance. It has to balance. The energy balance description of that which has occurred is correct. It's just not useful in terms of body composition or weight. So if the intake of energetic substrates is less than what is required to produce that potential energy in your body, then your metabolic rate will slow down if you can't get at your stored fat because of a high level of insulin. Jason is absolutely correct in that. And again, let's congratulate Jason on what he's got right, because he has got this right. However, we need to correct Jason on his lazy, parsimonious and incorrect formulation regarding energy and its fungibility. And that the terminology is acceptable just because everyone does it. Hey, look, Jason, if everyone jumped off the fucking bridge, would you go and do that too? You might, if you like doing such things and it's fun for you. What if I said it's a very, very high bridge and there's no parachutes? Would you do it still? No, you probably wouldn't. Describing things ineptly, wrongly, and erroneously as a scientist is not a good look, Jason. It reduces your credibility and it damages the credibility of what we're trying to do here, i.e. educate people as to the correct way of thinking about and describing and communicating about concepts in science. All right? I hope you don't think I'm being too unfair on Jason. He is a good bloke, I'm sure. I've not actually ever met him or spoken to him. But I do know that his ideas are pretty accurate on most things. Not this, though. Still, well, maybe he understands us. He's just too lazy to actually deal with it. We need to lose the term calories when we are referring to metabolic process. Calories were a term designed originally to describe the energy exchanges that occur in steam engines, according to thermodynamic principles. And we'll get back to thermodynamics later. I know we will, because Jason's going to mention it. And he's going to get it wrong, just to preempt. So be warned, I'm saying. Brace yourselves. Jason hasn't finished being wrong yet. But we are still congratulating Jason at large for the way he positions himself in terms of these concepts, yeah?
And that still satisfies the energy balance equation because you have three variables that are balanced. The key is whether or not you can release the fat energy. And what controls it? Well, insulin.
Insulin is one very important factor. Yes, it's not the only one though, Jason. There are other factors at play as well. To say, it's insulin, that's the end of it, full stop, is not accurate either. Hello, Patty, glad you're in the house. Ted, however, is very cross. Number one, that you're late, in which case you need to report to Ted after class for administrative correction. And number two, that you haven't sent Francois over for Ted, because he'd like to administratively correct Francois as well, wouldn't you, Ted? Anyway, you go down there and twiddle the knobs. Good boy. Stop causing trouble.
Does. If insulin is high, insulin is a storage hormone.
Right.
So
and what makes insulin high? That's right, carbohydrates. More than anything else. Good. Okay. So a calorie, so-called, of carbohydrates is not the same thing as a calorie of either fats or amino acids, proteins. We're done. Sorry about that. Calorie fans, Seco fans, followers of Greg Douchebag Doucette, and other such imbeciles who say such ridiculous nonsense, like Mike Israel, who's another devotee of this ridiculous nonsense, or Lame Norton, those kind of characters. Hey, listen, if you like those characters and you want to go and listen to them about how I heat energy, though, you're in the wrong place. Go and do that. Or you could just tell me underneath here how I don't understand. If you'd like to do that, though, perhaps you'd also like to front up to me face-to-face for a debate about maybe trying to correct me on anything I've said in this video, because I think you'll find that it's unfucking assailable. All of it. Everything I've said is correct. Do you know why? Because I made sure it was before I said it the first time. That's why I never have to change my tune. I just say the same thing again, because it's still fucking correct. Okay? Right.
So that the body senses that food is coming in. So therefore it wants to store some of that energy for use for later on. That's why you don't die in your sleep every single night.
Justice for you as well, Alex. We can't have latecomers to class. Stay behind afterwards. Meet Ted down the back of class, right by where that wetsuit with the bottom cut out is hanging, right next to that bucket of soapy frogs. Don't come late to class. Be here on time. Carry on, Jason.
However, if insulin levels are high, you cannot release that body fat energy. You can only store it.
Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it. Meet Base 40.
Imagine not having to put up with ads. Somebody told me how to not put up with ads the other day and I forgot to do it. Apparently you put a period, full stop, at the end of the video address and it stops the ads. I'll try that next time. Sorry, I forgot. My bad. I've got a lot of balls in the air at once. Juggling. All juggling.
Insulin is low. That is the signal that you can now release this energy and you can't store it. So this is the key. In the body, you can take the exact same calories.
You can't though, because the exact number of calories that you can take in is 0. None, ever, not one, still.
And only change the hormones and we will have dramatically different results.
That is correct, yes. If your hormones are set up one way versus another way in terms of what's being exuded, at what time and in what amount, that will affect how your body handles the exact same bolus of food intake from time to time. Ergo, a calorie is not a calorie in effect, and we're done with calories in, calories out as an accurate predictor up front of what will happen.
So let's make an assumption. We have a body.
Yes, let's make assumptions, because fuck it. We're not trying to do any good science here or describe spades as spades. Let's just assume things.
And in a day, you eat 2,000 calories.
You can't, though, still, Jason, remember?
Burn 2,000 calories.
You can't do that either.
Now you want to lose body fat. So somebody tell me.
So how do you then dictate to your body that the exact form of energy, let's say calories, that the body should exude should come all from fat? How are we going to do that? Because your body weight's made up of a number of different components, isn't it? Fat, protein, a small amount of carbohydrate, some minerals, and a great big whacking whack of water. 60 to 65% of your body mass, water. It's the single biggest, easiest way you can change your weight on a scale as quick as you like, other than amputating your legs or arms. You want to lose a pound? Go and take a piss. How many calories were involved in that?
Tells you, hey, you should simply cut 500 calories a day.
But
So
you can't do that because you can't consume any calories at all still,
you only eat 1,500 calories
which you still can't do, Jason.
in that day. Your body is still trying to burn 2,000 calories.
No, it's not. You can't burn calories and your body's not trying to do anything. Your body's doing exactly what it's programmed to do, given the circumstances in which you place those genes at any given time.
Now you have a calorie deficit.
No, you don't, still.
But that can't exist.
Which you've aptly explained, and well done for that. But you still don't have your head around this, Jason. Or if you do, you are still not communicating with your public accurately about what is a calorie and what is its utility in terms of discussing metabolic process, because it's still none.
So you're eating 1,500 calories.
Hello, Ron. Good to see you, mate. I sent you an email earlier in response to yours. I hope you got it.
But you're eating white bread, you're eating junk food, you're eating, snacking all the time. So your insulin levels are very high. Because it's high, your body cannot release the energy from the body fat. Therefore, your energy coming in is 1,500.
No.
Your energy going out is 2,000.
No.
That cannot exist. Therefore, if you can't take energy from the body fat because of the insulin, now you can only reduce the amount of energy that you burn to 1,500 calories.
But you still can't burn any calories because that's still a physical impossibility. The only thing that can be burned are things that react with oxygen. Those things that interact with the Higgs field. Carbon, hydrogen skeletons, pretty much, Jason. Producing H2O plus CO2. See how there's no photons involved in that other than as force bosons? See that? No? Okay. Go and learn some chemistry then, perhaps.
Now you're eating
And some physics.
1,500.
No, you're not, still.
Burning 1,500.
No, still not.
You haven't lost any body fat.
Well, what's body fat got to do with units of heat energy? If it had anything to do with it, I could go and sit in the sun and get obese, couldn't I? Or I could eat lumps of coal and get obese. I can't do either of those things. Fuck right off with the calories. It's ridiculous, Jason.
But because you're using less energy, you're feeling cold, you're feeling tired, you feel like crap. But worse, you're not losing any weight. And
Well, which is it, Jason? Is it weight or fat that you're talking about? Because they're not the same thing, are they? Weight is a force applied to a scale under the influence of gravity, irrespective of the mass that's being pulled down by gravity in terms of its makeup. Fat, however, describes a specific form of mass. See how they're not the same thing, not even close? See how that's just lazy, parsimonious, inaccurate, nonsensical communication that does not help educate people at large. All it does is perpetuate the same laziness that you are exhibiting here, Jason. For goodness sake.
guess what? That's what virtually every single nutritional study on weight loss has shown. If you simply focus on calories,
Which you should not do because it's not the right form of energy to even have any influence over your weight, let alone body composition, which is a separate issue entirely.
you will reduce your metabolic rate.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about with the genes reacting to any change in circumstance which you apply to those genes. They're interactive. And homeostasis, your body will do everything it can do to maintain homeostasis. Very effectively, it turns out, right up until the point just before you die. Another fact that James DeNiccoli No Nuts, for example, could do with learning. Also, he could probably learn to get his head around when he's been beaten, when he's been absolutely ring-punched, when he's been shown up to be completely incompetent in a given field, and learn to get his hubris under control and his ego under control, and to say, mea culpa, I had that wrong, Bart Kay was right, and I've been communicating poorly about this. Apologies to my people, I will correct myself going forward and credit Bart Kay for having corrected me. That would be what a reasonable, sensible adult human being might do, James. Instead, however, he did exactly what I said he would do to my last discussion response to his nonsense, where I had it out and had a discussion with the Keto Pro, Richard Smith. I said he won't respond to me face-to-face. He won't front up for a debate. What he will do is make yet another video, another wordy video, that lasts ages and ages, where he says exactly the same stupid, ridiculous nonsense again, does not respond to anything I actually said, or, if he does, he misrepresents what I said in order to twist it around to make it look like he's still right. And that's exactly what he did do. I also said no one would watch it. And they haven't done, James, have they? They haven't watched your 3 and 4 hour total 3 videos, section by section, wordy denunciation of your misrepresentation of what it is you believe I said, or what you want your people to believe I said. If they want to know what I did say, they can just watch what I did say, James. Did you think of that? No. Anyway, let's leave James behind in the dust and carry on dealing with Jason now. Maybe he'll front up. Jason, happy to have a discussion with you face-to-face where we can get this stuff squared away and I can correct you on your lazy, parsimonious and inaccurate descriptions of the concepts that you're talking about, so that going forward, your level of quality of education for your people is vastly better than it currently is, because currently it's pretty good. As I've said, congratulations. I like what you have to say mostly, but this calories nonsense must fucking stop. Okay? What's next?
Because you didn't focus on the insulin. On the other hand, let's take another example. Suppose you eat foods that are low in insulin, and you do
foods that are low in insulin, Jason. You mean foods that have a low impact on your insulin release, I think. I'm sure that's what you meant.
intermittent fasting. You're still taking in 1,500 calories.
No, you still fucking are not. You're not taking in any calories whatsoever. None. Ever. Still.
Then your body is still going to try to burn 2,000 calories.
No, it still isn't, because you still cannot burn calories. For fuck's sake.
However, your insulin levels are low, so therefore your body releases 500 calories.
No, it doesn't. Or if it does, that's completely of no value to your metabolism, because if you release calories, that would be photons, which would then fuck off to entropy at 186,000 miles per second, never to be seen again by your body. Wouldn't they, Jason? That's what they are. Still. I hope this is something that people can get their heads around even a little bit.
From the body fat. And guess what? Now you've balanced the energy balance equation. You've got 1,500 calories.
The whole equation, Jason, is just fucking ridiculous. From the ground up. It just needs to go in the ash can, baby. We need to stop talking about this ridiculous nonsense. A spade is a spade, and this, my friend, is $20 US. That's all it is. It is not relevant to my purchasing capacity here in Pimbatia or in New Zealand or anywhere else except somewhere that will directly accept US dollars as a means of exchange. Still. Okay?
Calories from food, 500 calories from your body fat, you're burning 2,000 calories.
No, you still aren't.
It's balanced, you're losing body fat, and you're feeling good. You're feeling energetic. You ate the same 1,500 calories.
Still can't.
The difference is that the diet that you chose was one that lowered insulin. So what's the
Right, so that is correct, conceptually. Consume a diet that does not cause your body to release too much insulin all the time, and you will be vastly less likely to carry too much fat on your body. Yes, absolutely correct, Jason. However, that has absolutely, precisely, exactly fuck all to do with calories in any way. Okay? Fluffy obviously has opinions too. I don't know if you can hear that, but she's going, oh, I think it's Fluffy. Maybe it's Snoozy. Snoozy always has opinions. Maybe there's a bad man around. Which would be anybody except me and Mummy. Anyway, let's carry on.
practical implication of that? Well, different foods for the same amount of calories.
No, Jason. Lose the term entirely, lose the analogy entirely. All you need is this. Different foods in terms of the kinds of mass that make those foods up are different. That's what makes them different. Your body will process, use, and expend those foods depending upon what those forms of mass are. Energy has nothing to do with it. Energy being a construct that we have to use in order to make any sense of the objective reality in which we perceive ourselves to exist. I mean, if you want to get into it, you want to get right down to the physics of this. Physics, as we understand it currently, demands absolutely that we do not exist, and that physical reality is anything but reality. It's a perception. Anyway, that's for another day.
Stimulate different amounts of insulin.
Right, so different foods are different. Great, we don't need to mention calories, because calories have got nothing to do with it.
That is refined carbohydrates, we know.
And all carbohydrates, in fact, Jason, because carbohydrates all break down to the same thing, don't they? Sugar.
Really stimulate a lot of insulin. If you eat vegetables and meats, we know it doesn't stimulate a lot of insulin.
Depends what the vegetables are and how much vegetables there are compared to how much meat, Jason. Again, making sweeping statements that are parsimonious and lazy as fuck. Please stop doing that.
So the implication is simply...
Because your message is good, Jason. There is value in your message, but you erode your value, your message, by being so fucking lazy with the way you're describing things. It's not simplifying things for the masses, it's just wrong. It's inaccurate. It's not good enough, Jason. Knock it off.
that some foods are more fattening than other foods. That's it. It doesn't break any laws of thermodynamics.
Which one, Jason? Which law of thermodynamics should apply to the human system? That's something you and I could debate. I'd start by asking you to quote the laws of thermodynamics for me. Could you do that? Off the top of your head without going to look it up first? I bet not.
Cookies are more fattening than broccoli.
Yes, that's correct. Pound for pound.
Brownies are more fattening than salmon.
Pound for pound, yes.
That's just common sense. It's not unscientific. And yet people...
However, talking about the value of foods in terms of heat energy is unscientific, Jason, is unacceptable and must fucking stop. Still.
People will say, well, a calorie is a calorie. No.
It isn't, though.
No. If you simply eat less, you can burn less. So let's take this energy balance equation and do some simple algebra.
Oh, God, really?
Calories in equals body fat plus calories out. And what this...
That starts to sound something like a formulation similar to one of those thermodynamic laws, doesn't it?
tells you when you rearrange it this way is that for every calorie that you eat...
But you can't eat any calories still, Jason, ergo eroding the value of your analogy to sub-zero once again. Still.
Your body can either burn it for energy or store it as body fat. Either one is fine, but which one does it do? What determines whether your body will burn it or store it?
Well, that's your hormonal balance, your inflammasome, the whole sum total of the environment in which your genes find themselves at any given time.
Because you don't get to choose this.
Well, you do, in fact. If you behave sensibly and control your intakes, activities, behaviours and things, you absolutely do get to choose.
It depends on the...
Yes, you did hear ducks, ABK. We have many, many ducks here in Pimbatia, and they are currently tooling around outside my window going whack, 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 whack. Also, we have muscovy, sheeps, cows, a couple of bulls, 3 in total, actually. Goats. Did I forget anybody? 2 dogs. 2 people. Just 2. 2 people that live here anyway. There are others here doing other things, of course. Slaving away, doing my bidding. Good, 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 good. Complete your training. Something, something, dark side, and all of that. All right.
Insulin. So foods contain not only the calories,
They don't contain any calories at all. Calories can be brought forth from foods by combusting them completely or partially, which either completely or partially erodes their value as a potential source of potential energy in the form of space-time relative position energy, in the form of chemical energy that is required for metabolism. Still, all right?
which is the energy, it contains information as to what your body should do with those calories.
No, Jason, still. Nothing to do with calories whatsoever at all, still.
If insulin is spiking way up, your body gets the message, hey,
You've already said this, I think.
I need to store this as body fat. If you're eating broccoli and salmon, if you're like eating chicken breast all day long, well, your insulin levels aren't going to go up very high. You're going to eat the calories, but your body's going to say, well, there's not that much insulin. We should just burn it. Because I don't want
You can't burn calories still.
to store it. You can't store it when your insulin levels are low. And the point is that if you simply focus on the calories, you've missed the bigger picture, which is what is controlling that body fat compartment.
Right, well, your inflammasome, your hormonal system, your body homeostatic mechanisms at large, still.
What controls whether it is taking in calories or releasing calories? Because it's not the calories. The thing that decides is the hormones. And that's why you have to focus on the insulin. And when you do, your weight loss is going to be much more successful.
You could also, if you want to be successful at weight loss, you could not worry about food or insulin or anything else. You could just cut your legs off. That would be successful. You'd lose a lot of weight rapidly, immediately, without any effort on your part. You could do that. Right, so Jason, as I said, at the beginning and in the middle and again at the end, you're a good bloke, I'm sure. Your message is largely good. There is value in what you have to say mostly, but this calorie nonsense is absolutely unacceptable from you. It must stop. You must take on board the spanking you've been given here, quite rightly, and adjust your messaging appropriately. Stop treating your audience as if they're imbeciles, because they're not. Stop calling that nothing but currency that can be changed to other currency and it doesn't matter. It fucking does, because you need the kit to do it, and the human body isn't it, and won't do it. Sort your life out. Okay? Simple as that. Right. Now that we've done all of that, let's see if there's any valuable questions, poses, whatever, commentary of some kind. That's useful. Thank you. Good feedback. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad it was helpful, if it was helpful. Oh my God, Juliet, really? Really? Okay. Fair play. Fair play. All right, so does anybody want to say anything, ask any questions before we go offline? Because I've got shit to do. We've all got shit to do. I'm busy. Here's one question. Here it is. I'm curious where I can read more on the CD34 plus cells becoming all types of cells except gametes. I tried Google and Chat GPT. Well, that's what you did wrong. But couldn't find studies. Okay. I would check out things such as Medline is a good academic source to find articles, if articles are what you want to find. Medline is a good one as well. Someone's at my door, so I will just respond to that. Hold fire, everybody. Staff. You can't get the help, can you? Anyway, right, so there it was. Or you can ask me nicely if I might make a video about it, and I might consider doing it when I've got some time. Or you can take my word from it, because I'm the science me, safe and effective. You can trust me. Don't question the science, even though that's how you do science. Medline is a good place to go if you want to find articles, though. Okay. Right. Wanted to know the mechanism that replaced calories in calories. What do you mean the mechanism that replaced it? I've heard you say mass, but each macro is different, right? Yes. How do Twinkie diets lose fat? Because the makeup and amount of the foods that are intaken by people on those diets at various times are such that their bodies react to that by losing fat. Still nothing to do with calories. I'm not sure I understand the question or where it's come from. Or perhaps you need to start again at the beginning of this video and work your way through it again. Or indeed, you could watch my entire playlist on calories in, calories out being nonsense. I don't know how many videos I've made, how many times I've said the same information in different ways, so that hopefully at least one of them is something that everybody can get their head around in some way. Try that. Okay, so I need to go and render some assistance in helping some staff find some things they need to do the job that they're being paid to do. So that being the case, I will have to run away at this point. I hope it's been an hour well spent. I hope you've enjoyed it. If not, stiff shit. Nothing I can do about it, really. That's just how it is. That's the way we roll around here. Ted, you can help me sing the Pumbatian national anthem as our closing gambit. You ready, Ted? We can't hear you, though, Ted. Speak up. Anyway, the Pumbatian national anthem goes a bit something like this. Steak and eggs and steak and no calories. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and no calories. Just making sure you heard. I think they got it, Ted. Very good. Join me next time when someone will be wrong on the interwebs.